On January 27th, the Northampton Bank robbery takes place in Massachusetts, highlighting the era's growing concerns about crime and security in post-Civil War America. On February 2nd, the National League of Professional Baseball Clubs is formed in Chicago, replacing the National Association and becoming the foundation of modern Major League Baseball. On February 14th, Alexander Graham Bell and Elisha Gray both apply for United States patents for the telephone, beginning one of the most famous patent disputes in history. Just days later, on February 22nd, Johns Hopkins University is founded in Baltimore, establishing a new model for modern research universities. Between February and March, the Harvard Lampoon Humor magazine is founded in Cambridge, beginning a long tradition of satire and student journalism. On March 2nd, United States Secretary of War William Belknap resigns amid the Trader Post scandal. On March 7th, Bell is officially granted his patent for the telephone, and on March 10th, he makes the first successful telephone call, famously saying, "Mr. Watson, come here, I want to see you." During March, Melville Dewey publishes the Dewey Decimal Classification System, revolutionizing library organization. At the same time, thousands of Plains Indians gather near the Little Bighorn River under Sioux Chief Sitting Bull, marking the last great assembly of Native American tribes on the Great Plains. On April 12th, the Indian Act comes into force in Canada. On April 17th, Friends Academy is founded in New York. On May 10th, the Centennial Exposition opens in Philadelphia, celebrating 100 years of American independence. That same day, Eli Lilly is founded, becoming a major pharmaceutical company. On May 18th, Wyatt Earp begins work as a lawman in Dodge City, Kansas. On May 29th, the United States Senate votes that William Belknap can still be tried, but fails to reach the required majority, leading to his acquittal. On June 4th, the Transcontinental Express reaches San Francisco via the first transcontinental railroad in just over 83 hours, demonstrating the speed and power of rail travel. On June 6th, the American Association on Intellectual and Developmental Disabilities is founded to improve care for people with disabilities. On June 17th, the Battle of the Rosebud sees Sioux and Cheyenne warriors led by Crazy Horse defeat General George Crook's forces at Rosebud Creek in Montana Territory. On June 25th and 26th, the Battle of the Little Bighorn occurs, where Lieutenant Colonel George Armstrong Custer and his men are wiped out by Native American forces led by Sitting Bull and Crazy Horse. On July 4th, Americans across the nation celebrate the Centennial of Independence. On August 1st, Colorado is admitted as the 38th United States state, and the Senate formally acquits Belknap of impeachment charges. On August 2nd, legendary gunfighter Wild Bill Hickok is murdered in Deadwood. On August 8th, Thomas Edison receives a patent for his mimeograph. On August 14th, Prairie View A&M University is founded as the first state-supported historically black college in Texas. On September 7th, Jesse James and the James Younger Gang attempt to rob a bank in Northfield, Minnesota, but are nearly destroyed by an armed mob. On October 4th, Texas A&M University opens for classes, and on October 6th, the American Library Association is founded. On November 7th, the presidential election between Rutherford B. Hayes and Samuel J. Tilden ends in controversy, with Hayes eventually declared the winner. That same night, a failed attempt is made to steal Abraham Lincoln's body from his tomb. On November 10th, the Centennial Exposition closes. On November 23rd, Boss Tweed is returned to New York authorities after being captured in Spain. On November 25th, United States troops attack a Cheyenne village in the Dull Knife Fight, destroying food supplies and killing livestock in retaliation for the dramatic American defeat at the Battle of the Little Bighorn. On December 5th, the Brooklyn Theater fire kills hundreds of people. On December 6th, the first cremation in the United States takes place in a crematory built by Francis Julius Lemoyne in Pennsylvania. On December 29th, the Ashtabula River Railroad Bridge collapses, killing 92 people. During December, the American edition of Mark Twain's The Adventures of Tom Sawyer is published. Heinz tomato ketchup is introduced, Budweiser is marketed nationally, Emil Berliner invents an improved microphone, and Lyford House is constructed in California. On January 1st in Europe, the Reichsbank opens in Berlin, and Bass Brewery registers the world's first trademark symbol. On February 2nd, government forces defeat Carlists at Montagura, and by February 28th, the Third Carlist War ends as the Carlist pretender Carlos, Duke of Madrid, goes into exile in France, bringing the conflict to an end after 4 years. On the February 24th, Peer Gynt by Henrik Ibsen premieres in Norway. On March 20th, Sweden appoints its first prime minister, Louis de Geer. On April 1st, Lars Magnus Ericsson opens a workshop that will become Ericsson. On April 16th, the April Uprising begins in Bulgaria. On May 1st, the Royal Titles Act in the UK Parliament confers the title Empress of India upon Queen Victoria, and the Settle Carlisle Railway opens to passenger traffic. On May 11th and 12th, the Berlin Memorandum is proposed, but on May 16th, Prime Minister Disraeli rejects it. That same day, Adam Worth steals Gainsborough's portrait of Georgiana, Duchess of Devonshire, from a London gallery 3 weeks after its sale at Christie's for 10,000 guineas, the highest price ever paid for a painting at auction at this time. On May 17th, Nicholas Otto patents the 4-stroke internal combustion engine. On May 30th, Sultan Abdulaziz is deposed by his nephew Murad as Sultan of the Ottoman Empire on the grounds of mismanaging the economy. 6 days later, Abdulaziz is found dead at the Chiran Palace in Istanbul. And 93 days later, Murad is deposed by Abdul Hamid II on the grounds of mental illness. For this reason, in Turkey, 1876 is known as the Year of the Three Sultans. That same day, the Emsukaz is issued by Tsar Alexander II of Russia in the German city of Bad-Ems to restrict Ukrainian-language publications in the Russian Empire. And during May, the Batak massacre occurs in Bulgaria, where more than 3,000 people are massacred by Ottoman troops. On June 19th, Jaskensag is disestablished. On July 1st, Serbia declares war on the Ottoman Empire, followed by Montenegro on July 2nd. On July 8th, Russia and Austria-Hungary agree on dividing the Balkans. On July 13th, the prosecution of Arthur Tooth begins for using ritualist practices. On August 13th, the Bayreuth Festival opens. On September 5th, William Gladstone publishes his Bulgarian Horrors pamphlet. On September 12th, the Brussels Geographic Conference begins, leading to the creation of the International African Association, indirect forerunner of the modern Congo state. On September 26th, Henkel is founded. On November 4th, Johannes Brahms' First Symphony premieres. On December 13th, the Ottoman Empire signs a new constitution. On December 23rd, the Constantinople Conference opens. That year, Charles Wells opens a brewery, Spandau Prison is completed, the Conchological Society is founded, Heinrich Schliemann excavates Mycenae, and Stockport Lacrosse Club is founded. Globally, on February 26th, Japan forces Korea to sign the Japan-Korea Treaty, opening ports and ending Korea's tributary status to China. On August 6th, the Arabic newspaper Al-Ahram is first published in Egypt. On October 26th, Jose Maria Iglesias claims the presidency of Mexico. On October 31st, the Bengal cyclone kills 200,000 people. On November 1st, the British colony of New Zealand dissolves its 9 provinces and replaces them with 63 counties. On November 29th, Porfirio Diaz becomes president of Mexico. On December 2nd, the Chugai Economic Daily is launched in Japan. The northern Chinese famine begins, eventually killing 30 million people. Samurai are banned from carrying swords, marking the end of their traditional status in Japan. Thanks for watching. Like, subscribe, and join us as we continue exploring history 1 year at a time.